Amazon Astro, part 2, 3, and 4, my updates and reviews on what I thought about their AI powered robot. And just to quickly recap, this is an Amazon Day 1 Edition product, basically a beta test of new products that they're looking to launch to the market. Now, when you use something like a Day 1 Edition, you get a reduced cost, and that's the big benefit here. Instead of paying the $1,500 retail when it launches, I only had to pay $1,000. Now, still $1,000 is a lot, but it's a whole lot less than the $1,500. So what exactly is Amazon Astro? It's essentially an Alexa show on wheels. It moves around and just acts like Alexa. And did I like it? And what do I think about it? Well, here's my reviews. And what you're really going to want to hear, would I recommend it to somebody else? And would I recommend it for this price point? So let's start with the setup. Overall, it was pretty simple. It knew my Wi-Fi without me connecting it. That part, I still don't get how it did. There are other Alexas on the network, so maybe somehow it shared that information, but it did that without asking. The other thing is it knew it was coming to me, so it was already kind of configured to me, and I just had to link my account. Overall, a pretty easy process. The next thing you had to do is have it recognize you, and it needs to recognize your face, and it's a lot like Face ID with Apple. So you're moving it around, and it's getting to understand your face because you can tell it to go find somebody, and it'll go seek them out. After I did that, we went ahead and did it to my wife, and it recognized both of us and knew who we were by names, Sean and my wife, Heather. Of course, during this process, it had already done all of its updates, and then I set it on mapping my residence. Now, ordinarily, this should take about 30 minutes total time. It, for some reason, messed up, and I had to restart it, and my setup time took about 45 minutes. But overall, not bad. It only had to try to map the house twice, and it did a pretty good job. Now, there's a lot of obstacles on the ground. We have a dog with toys, so we made sure we cleaned all those obstacles up and allowed it to move pretty unobstructed. And overall, it's quite quick and it moves very well. It was able to maneuver around some raised floor carpets we have or in our gym. It was able to jump up a little like lip we have for the padding. So it does a pretty good job for obstacle avoidance. Every once in a while, if a door is like half open, half closed, it might go to the wrong side of that door and then it's stuck. But overall, it moves around the house quite well. So now that we've had it for a while, what is our overall impressions? And they're kind of mixed reviews. My wife's not really a fan. For some reason, it loves to go into our master bathroom. We don't quite understand why it does that. That is the farthest room in the house, but it will go in there compared to the 8 or so other rooms it has mapped maybe 10 times a day if we let it. So usually the door's shut and it can't get through there during the day when we're off at work. But for some reason, it likes going into our master bathroom. Very odd. The other thing that I found a little off-putting was the voice. I expected a different voice, and instead it has the same voice as Alexa. Now I'm used to that, but when I talk to Alexa, I want the voice to be different than when I talk to Astro. And for some reason, that really threw me off. One of the neat features is it can go and deliver something to somebody. So you put a can of soda or a can of beer in the back, or up to 2 cans if you want, and tell it to go find whoever, and it'll start searching the house for them. That part really needs to be improved. It'd be nice to say, go find Sean in the master bedroom, or go find Heather in the living room. And then it goes to that room and it starts looking around. Unfortunately, it doesn't do that. It just starts looking around for somebody and trying to scan their face. When you're sitting on a couch, you're sit back a little bit, so it's harder for it to recognize. You kind of have to lean forward. Not necessarily the greatest mechanism how that works. One of the best features, I think, is its speaker. It works quite well. Obviously, you can listen to music and it'll follow you around. You can tell it to follow you. It follows just a little bit close. But when it does play music, if you're stationed in a room, it'll turn and face you, which is kind of nice because you can see the lyrics or you can hear the speaker better. But the speaker is quite good, and I do recommend and like that feature. The telescopic camera, that's also a pretty neat feature, but it doesn't move with the camera up. It usually will stay stationary. You can raise and launch the camera up with your finger on the app and then lower it back down or tell it to move. It'll reposition the camera back down and then it'll start moving, which I guess is a good idea so it doesn't get, lopped off by something that might be an obstruction. As far as for the app, I thought it was pretty clunky. I don't really consider Amazon good GUI interface designers. If you look at their website, it's kind of been terrible for years. It works. They sell a lot like Costco of the internet, but it's just not the easiest to use. And their software really left me unimpressed. I'd give that probably 2 out of 5 stars. It was a little bit difficult to figure out some stuff, to get it to move. I just didn't like it. They've got a lot of work to do on that. As far as for the device overall, it really is an Alexa on wheels, like an Alexa Spot. It works well. You can ask it questions. It does a little silly stuff like dance. It'll greet you when you come home. And it has a little bit of a personality. One thing that is awkward to me is it makes sounds. It'll sit off on its charger or in a room and it'll make like little robot sounds that you might figure R2D2 from Star Wars making. That's fine, but when the volume's at 6 or 7, you might be watching TV or talking on the phone or just whatever, and it's a little distracting. To get that to stop, you really have to turn the volume down. There's no way to say turn off robot sounds. That would be something I wish they would implement. So here's the key part. Would I buy it and or recommend it? And for $1,000, maybe. For $1,500, definitely not. I don't think it's there. I think it has a lot of potential to do a lot of cool things. One, I'd change the voice or allow us to change the voice. I'd really work on upgrading the app. It needs a ton of work. But at $1,500, I think it's overpriced. At $1,000, I can see where you're paying for the hardware and the Amazon Show. That feature's nice. I am disappointed that the Ring features, some of the security features, to have it patrol your house, those are extra. You'd think at $1,000 or $1,500, maybe get 3 months free or 6 months free or even a year. None of that. It's not included for some of those security features. The alarm feature that it has is really doesn't seem to work very well. I don't even know how it works. I tell it to arm and then to disarm, and I really can't tell that it did anything overall. So I don't feel that feature is working quite well yet, and I really don't understand why you don't get any of that free, at least on a trial basis, particularly when you're paying $1,000 or $1,500. So right now, if I had to rate it 1 to 5, I'd give it a 3. I think it has potential to get to a 4. I don't know if it'll ever get to a 5, but it has a potential to get to 4 and be functional and useful. Allow us to change the voices, upgrade the app, add more integrated features. I know it's a day one edition, but they still have a lot of work. Right now, I can't recommend it at $1,500, and I'm pretty iffy at $1,000. Would you get an Amazon Astro? Let me know in the comments if you would and what you'd pay for it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review.